All right, everybody, welcome to the 1.8 Kubernetes release burndown meeting. It's Monday, September 18th, 2017. I am Jay Singer-Dumars. I am the release team leader. And if you want to follow along after the fact, the agenda and notes are at bit.ly/Kates18release. And we'll get started. I will go ahead and share my screen. Share the screen. Find the right window. Here. Okay. Are you able to see, hopefully, the agenda?
Looks good here.
Okay, good. So brief recap about where we're at in the release cycle, what happened last week, and what the goal is for this week. On Friday, we had a discussion to decide that we should extend code freeze until this coming Friday. That was largely related to the fact that upgrade tests and such were not providing a consistent enough signal that we had a clear feeling about what the 1.8 release branch health is. And by extending code freeze to this Friday, the hope is that we can enlist more help on rectifying those test flakes and infrastructure issues so that we can get a solid feeling for what the 1.8 release health is. We're going to go through a day-by-day plan because I don't want to have these 5 days get sucked into oblivion by not knowing what we're going to accomplish. So the first part of the meeting will go through this proposed work breakout, and then we'll get into the actual status of where the work is currently. So we have today is really about organizing the work for this week. The goals that I have outlined today are that we need to triage and assign all failing tests and open issues to an owner, SIG, or individual. And so what we need to do is actually assess what those items are, put them in a spreadsheet somewhere, and start tracking them. So right now, and we'll go through the open issues in a minute, but there are 59 of them, so this is not a small thing to do. Essentially, we need to have owners and start delegating responsibility for all those to ascertain whether they need to remain in the 1.8 milestone or they need to be pulled out. And if they remain in the 1.8 milestone, they need to have some sort of associated PR or work effort that's being tracked against the issue. We want to stabilize all the test infrastructure so all the tests can be run. I believe, according to Eric, that this is currently complete and that we do have tests running now and that we have an amount of work that's being generated to start resolving the failing tests. Lastly, for goals today, I'd love to at least begin detailing out what our go, no-go criteria is. And there's prior art in terms of what the 1.7 release team used to do that. Caleb had some documentation that he had done for that prior, and we may want to update that to the 1.8 release cycle. More on that will probably be posted in the SIG release channel. Right now, I don't necessarily want to go into great detail there, but it's just something we need to get on our radar. So what I need, what we need as a release team is some help. And so this is really coming down to we need to assemble some sort of way of tracking all these open work items and get them burned down to zero over the course of this week. And so that's the issues and tests. I'm not sure the best approach here. I have my own feelings, but I'd love to have some opinions from the group here about what the best way to tackle those two different work streams is. I'll open up the floor now for suggestions, and if we don't get any, I'll suggest mine.
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I've started looking through issues sorted by least recently updated, since those seem like the most likely candidates that if they're not actively being worked on or being overlooked, I'm pinging those and I'm awaiting responses. So I'm trying not to go to a spreadsheet yet. But the difficulty I have for some of these is there a pull request actively being worked on to close this issue? Is this issue necessary for the release? That sort of stuff. That's just my method of doing it right for now.
That's good. So are you, when you're contacting people about these issues, are you documenting in the actual issue itself?
Yes.
To say, okay.
Yes, I'm trying to put in rationale for like, hey, what should be done about this?
And are you sort of double teaming notifications on Slack, so hitting people individually, or are you doing
I have
something?
not been hitting people individually, no.
Okay.
I could start doing that. I don't know. I guess for the release blocker issues, certainly we could start from priority down.
I would probably say that would be a valid approach. I just want to confirm that if there are truly ones labeled as release blocking, I mean, everything obviously by policy is release blocking, but ones specifically that have been called out as those critical ones, we should probably just make sure they're being worked actively.
Right.
So are you volunteering to do that?
As best as I am able. I don't believe I will get to every single issue, but that's the process I'm using to get to issues that I can.
Okay. Is there anybody else on this meeting who would like to volunteer to start looking at that issue backlog and working in the same manner as Aaron in terms of just updating the issues with some sort of comment and making sure it's being worked or tied to a PR?
Jace, this is Dims. I'll help Aaron.
Okay, thank you so much, Dims. That's fantastic.
Thanks, man.
We'll save the spreadsheet malarkey till the very end if we need to, because it's a lot of duplicate work, and frankly, I'm really sick of doing spreadsheets myself. Great. Thank you so much. I'll bold these out so we know they're being worked. So another thing that we need to do is we need to have a point of contact with each SIG for ones that own either issues or tests that are failing. I'm not sure the best way to do that either. Unfortunately, we sort of lean on SIG leads to be that role, the sort of traffic cop between the efforts, but I don't know that that's the right approach necessarily. Thoughts on how best to start tying a SIG point of contact into these things?
I think at this point, pinging the leads and saying you're it, or nominate an alternative. I don't think we have a better option.
Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my fallback, but I was hoping that somebody might have some different way. But so anybody want to
warming up my retrospective comments to say we should have a list where SIG leads can put people proactively, so we don't have to find them now.
I so 100% agree with that. Can somebody volunteer to assemble what I need most out of this is just visibility. What are the actual SIGs that matter for this effort right now? What are the SIGs we need to chase down the leaders and delegates for? So that means looking at the tests. That means looking at the issues. Okay.
Network apps cluster lifecycle.
I think there's others in terms of testing though, like scale and whatnot. Jordan, are you volunteering? Because that would make me happy.
I'm out of the office starting tomorrow, so I'm probably not the best person to. If you want continuity.
Okay. All right. Well, then looks like I get to do this. And anybody who wants to jump in and help me, that would be great. So the let's see. So there's also the Google test work. Adam and Sen, do you guys have an update on that? It seems like things are looking a lot better today. Of course, I get Sen with a mouthful of food. Sorry, Sen.
Yeah, sorry. Chewing microphone. So from testing infra side, I think most of the issue was fixed up on like Friday noonish. So I think, yeah, things were stabilized and we should have strong signal for each test.
Okay, good.
Hey Sen, I still see some of the GC tests have 99 stable tests. Do you see the same thing, or I'm looking at the wrong test grid?
I haven't checked this morning. Can you send me a link?
Sure, will do.
I'll check on my phone.
Okay, and I raised in the Slack channels and release and testing, but I think Jenkins might be having issues again because I noticed there are a couple pre-submit jobs that show as having been triggered for a while, but I don't see any logs in Prow, which I usually use as the sign that Jenkins has been triggered and is doing something.
Okay. All right. We'll take a look at that after the meeting and see what's going on there.
Yeah, not critical, just wanted to raise it while we're here.
Okay, great, thank you. Righty. Cool, okay, so we've got owners for all these, and again, help wanted on the SIG triage, just because I'm really, really busy right now with all the things happening, so. All right, timeline for next week. What is going on here? Okay. So just a brief bit about this. So next week is going to be the actual release, but I put in a few things that maybe we want to add to the schedule next time. Things like release notes, just making sure that the final draft is complete. Marketing drafts get reviewed and ready to ship. So that's going to be coordination with the CNCF. We need to make sure that we get everybody who is on the release team at these meetings as much as possible for the remainder of the week. Tuesday, I assume we'll go on a preliminary go, no-go discussion to determine what work items are outstanding in order to press the big green button on Wednesday. So we'll talk more about that. On Wednesday also, I'm gonna just leave my Slack channel, or not Slack, but Zoom channel open all day so we can just do drop-in meetings as needed and have those discussions face-to-face, and we'll record those if we need to and distribute the information. But basically, I want to be able to provide a mechanism for rapid communication so that we're not waiting for people to make decisions. Any questions about this week or next? All right, moving along. Metrics review. Metrics are looking pretty abysmal right now. We have 59 open issues in the milestone. That's down by 4 from Friday, but that's not a significant percentage decrease. We need to continue hammering on these. Obviously, Aaron's going to be working on that. Dims will be working on that, and I'll be doing some of that as well. Release blocking issues currently are 7. That has not budged since Friday. The others, you can just look at the list. Open PRs in the milestone, there's 25 currently. So those are largely fixes and whatnot. The ones with specific criticality or urgency are noted as critical. There's 1, and important soon is marked as 1. The rest are not. Probably a good idea to go through and triage the open PRs just to look at those. I'll try and do that today if possible because I want to understand what's out there. And I'm a little bit worried about the the PRs that are going in right now, because I think people are taking advantage of the code freeze going on longer, and I just want to make sure that those are actually legitimate PRs that should be going in. Because technically this week, PRs should be treated more like cherry picks than just a regular PR. Submit queue this morning when I looked was green. Hallelujah. Thank you so much. Everybody's been working on all that. The release dashboard not looking good. The release blocking for 1.8 had 3 failing tests and master blocking had 4. I'm sure that those are going to be sussed out. I had pinged cluster lifecycle on some of that. Lucas said that there was some investigation going there and that they had a PR in another repo that was going to help resolve that one at least. Any updates there that anybody wants to talk about? Okay, exception requests. We have one to review. It is from SIG auth. It is the pod security policy allow any capabilities. This PR has very strong support from the SIG already. It doesn't look like it's contentious, and it looks like a relatively low-risk change. Is there any discussion that we need to have about this, or is this an approval?
I'll speak up in favor of it. This is enabling us to write a super user PSP, and until we can do that, we can't start to enable it even in test environments realistically.
Okay.
So it adds literally one constant, which is a star, and says, and one check, which says if this value is star, then allow. So that's
okay.
The scope of it.
All right. Sounds like there is no resistance. Sounds like there's strong support. So we're going to add the 1.8 milestone right now. And that should be it. Approved, LGTM. All right, cool. Done. Moving along. So branch updates, branch health is yellow, but actually that's a more optimistic yellow than we had last week because there's work being done on all these things. Eric had put an update on all these. We won't necessarily go through these line by line, but it's important to note that there are some fixes in place and we're working on them. Tomorrow, when Eric is not tied up in the CoreOS all hands, we'll have him give us a rundown on where we're at. These are top priority, so whatever I can personally do to help get these PRs worked or get additional resources, please let me know, or anybody else. I'll be watching the SIG testing and SIG release channels throughout the day. Any questions, concerns?
Do we know if we have 1.7 patch manager contacts? I know Wojtek is the patch manager, and I didn't see a backup for him. I haven't seen him online. So I know a few of those were pending his approval.
Yeah, I have not heard anything from Wojtek. Adam, Sen, do you guys have any magic ways of contacting Wojtek that are not available to us mere mortals?
It's impossible. He's on vacation.
Okay,
great.
So we need a surrogate.
I can try and track down a kind of West Coast surrogate for Wojtek if that's what we're looking for. And there are people who have the power, and it's kind of getting it. I wouldn't say it's problematic because Wojtek's been remarkably flexible and doing stuff in the evenings. I know he's jumped into a handful of issues I've been chasing.
For the test only changes for the 1.7 branch. I think the LGTM and the approval is probably sufficient. Like changes to add a feature flag to an E2E test isn't going to destabilize someone who's installing a 1.7 point release, right? So if it's limited to that, and all three of the open PRs are test only changes, specifically for compatibility, I would be comfortable with going off the LGTM approval, but I don't know.
Let me try and get that figured out.
Okay. And I think as a default, Adam, if push comes to shove, you have the authority as the superseding manager to do that. So as far as anything I have as far an opinion there, I mean, I trust you completely to do that if need be.
Okay.
Okay, so there's some more here about the master branch EDE. Scale tests. Okay, yeah, we need to look into these today if possible. It looks like Eric's going to do that as well, but obviously there's been other fires burning. If there's anybody who can help Eric out, or just even ping him on Slack to offer a hand if need be, that'd be great. Build failures, not an issue currently. Test infra. We need to get a plan together for downgrade testing, which means somebody needs to spin up the infrastructure and actually run the tests with the downgrade flag.
From master to 1.7 or?
I believe so. Well, from 1.8 branch to 1.7.
I can set up both.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Great. Thank you. So it occurs to me that we have a lot of moving parts right now on testing, and I wonder if we need just a testing stand-up or some sort of way of synchronizing kind of on a day-to-day basis. Any thoughts on how best to synchronize all that work?
I'm fine with seeing if we need more people from testing to show up at this meeting to talk about what they're working on and why. We could try that. I mean, Sen's kind of the test on call right now, and I think he and Adam said they were raising the flag to get more help. What's the latest on that?
I think I was doing most of the stuff. What do we actually need from this section? Like, just give a status for like the current status every day, or what we need else?
I mean, are we talking about the status around the test infrastructure itself, or is this drifting into other aspects around test outcomes, test results?
Essentially, my hope here was to just know what all the various things are happening. So there's the upgrade test, there's the test infrastructure, there's the PRs around fixing the tests. There's going to be SIG leaders that are going to be coming in and out to have updates about what they're doing. Having managed this sort of effort in the past, I know that things get spiraled out or people don't communicate directly and things get missed. And I just want to make sure that we're very clear about what needs to be done, who's working on it, when it's due, and how do we know it's in trouble.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of like, how do we get the tests green, basically?
Yeah, essentially that's it, like a green test stand-up.
Section in the document, because it's all about testing.
I would suggest to move this out of the testing for update, make a new section called test status updates.
Okay.
I was mostly responsible for get the test start running.
Yeah, which is still valuable. And that's so a test infra update might be apparently 95% of the Jenkins agents are down right now for some reason. And we have about 1,000 Jenkins jobs queued up for some reason. So pre-submits aren't going anywhere right now. How to make a test screen, I guess I sort of figured that we were going to try and get representatives from SIGs to show up at this meeting, choose a SIG or two, a sacrificial SIG lead or somebody to explain what's going on with their tests. And I did say I was going to get somebody from SIGscale to do that today, and I did not. I apologize for that, and I will see what I can do about that for tomorrow. But I think like just getting updates from the SIGs who are responsible for the tests seems to be a good motivating factor to like, hey, if you fix your tests before we call you up, then you don't have to like come in front of this audience. But it sounds like those are the sorts of questions you want to get answers to anyway.
Yeah, the first step is identifying failing tests and responsible SIGs.
Right, that's like, which is my job.
Until we do that, we can't call them out.
Yep, that's exactly the problem. That's why I wanted that to be today's a push for today. Yeah. Okay. I'll consider that as a tangential part of what I'm doing as far as collecting the people that we contact. For sure. But good suggestion to move to a new section where we just synchronize on testing specifically. Okay. So master branch was we'll get more on this from Eric tomorrow.
I'm actually here.
Oh, you are? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything specifically you want to call out? We're about the halfway point of the meeting right now.
Yeah, we're just for the master branch. We have a couple. We have my notes are. Oh, we have two. Okay. Yeah, the infrastructure looks fine. The GCE Federation and GCE alpha features are red. I will look into that. We have another alpha features suite that is passing and green, so hopefully that's just an issue with the actual infrastructure rather than anything else. And then the biggest item is probably the fact that the scale testing continues to be red. But this is not, we're already at infra. So yeah, we're looking pretty good then.
Okay. So what is some help that you need? Because you got a lot going right now. What would be helpful for you?
So the log fix is probably the only item that I need right now. Or if somebody wants to help investigate some of the end-to-end failures mentioned above. But otherwise, I'm pretty good.
Okay. So if anybody here wants to help Eric, hit Eric up in Slack and offer to help, that would be fantastic. Okay, documentation and marketing. So Thursday, Friday, I got pulled into this because there was not traction happening. So I harassed, harangued, and cajoled people into doing their docs PRs, and we actually got some reasonable traction. There's 3 remaining that need to be done. I just got a ping on Slack moments ago from Casey Davenport, who's responsible for 2 of the 3. So that looks like those might move forward. The last one, Piotr, probably pronouncing it wrong, needs to get that underway. So if anybody knows him or can ping him separately to ask for help with that would be great. Or if there's somebody else that needs to be working that, that would be great.
Which one? You mean 271?
Yes. I believe so.
Okay, I can
try
to ping him.
Yeah, this one has no documentation. Thanks, Merrick. Okay. So for marketing, Eeyore is graciously going through every single feature and collating what might be possibly some sort of release type overarching themes. When we had this discussion, we had agreed that it was not something that we're going to mandate as far as this release goes because, frankly, there was no specific directive as far as themes. But what in our discussions, we did decide was that it was worth investigating to see if there were organic themes that emerged And so we should call those out because those will not necessarily have visibility from the SIG theme level. Some of those will, some of those won't. So Ihor, again, is working on documenting some of those, and I'm sure he'll present that in the document. Also, quick congratulations to Ihor, who is the latest addition to the CNCF developer advocacy team. So congratulations, Ihor. It's a huge win for the community. Super excited to have you working on that. Release notes, updates. There's a link to the draft. Radhika is going through and soliciting themes from the SIGs. We're trying to get people to do that documentation. That's going to become more and more dire this week as we get closer. The worst case is that there simply won't be themes, and people will have to glean that from blog posts and whatnot else. So we'll do our best, and we'll try and get that into the draft as soon as possible. There's also some draft entries that are missing. There's also PR out there that Jennifer has graciously done that has some updates to the list of SIGs that should be contributing or not. I added some comments on that. Jennifer, I think you're in this call, but if we could add to your PR to that branch to remove the ones that I mentioned there, that will help that list look better.
Will do. I haven't checked. Sorry.
No worries. But there's several in there that I identified that either aren't shipping or are SIGs that just don't have anything present in this release.
Awesome. Excellent. I'll take care of that right after this meeting.
Great, thank you.
I was also thinking of taking the same approach that Aaron is with the tests to those problem places where we've identified that there's incomplete content. And pinging individual SIGs to say, please, just give me somebody. In some cases, I can identify individuals and just say, give me 10 minutes of your time and talk to me, and I will fix the problem. So that's my plan for this week. We have a Heptio offsite all week, so I will be squeezing this in. But it looks like we've got time to do it. So
cool, good timing, fantastic. Do what you can. If you need help, contact me and I'll help you, or we'll find somebody else that can help.
Thanks.
Yep. All right. Announcements. Reminder that we're going to be doing daily burndowns this week until the release ships on the 27th, which I'm still very hopeful that we can do. Does anybody else have any other updates, announcements?
I wanted to talk about scaled upgrade tests, which we were asked to run in previous releases. It's manual process, extremely time consuming, and for last few releases, it didn't actually found anything. It's basically running like very simple upgrade tests, but on like 1,000 nodes or something. So it actually tests the scripts or whatever upgrade tools we have, which I think basically stabilized sometime. And also, I don't think there's a need to do this time.
So are you a member or a leader of the SIG that would have ownership of those tests?
Yeah, well, we can say that.
Okay. Because in order to deprecate a test or a suite of tests,
it's not a set, it was manual, so it was never a part of anything.
Well, seeing as you're the one who's really pushing for the downgrade tests, and you saw that missing and that we need to add this, if you're saying that this is something, the process that can be deprecated, I'm certainly willing to trust that that's the case. Is there anybody in this meeting currently who has a strong affinity for wanting to manually perform scale tests? Oh, what's that, Aaron? I hear you say you want to run the scale test. That's very nice of you to volunteer. Okay.
Yes, I think documenting this decision so that we can come back and when we're wondering why nobody decided to run the manual upgrade tests, scalability.
If someone wants to, feel free. It's like 3 days of work.
I think I would rather see our efforts driven towards getting the existing scale tests to pass, let alone upgrade.
It's a completely different kind of test. Yeah, this was for just for upgrade tools. This one.
All right. Well, I don't hear anybody chomping at the bit, and so we're going to document in this meeting that this is deprecated effort as of 1.8. For time immemorial, this is the moment.
Great,
Thank you
thanks.
for raising that. That's super helpful. Less to do, less busy work, the better.
Yeah, sadly, there's also this downgrade test. Yeah, I will. Well, I don't work, but like we'll see what Sen will come up with and comment on that.
Okay, that sounds good. That's a really good course of action. Okay. Any other open mic items, announcements, concerns, questions? Okay. One last thing for me, which is if you are seeing things unfold during this release process that you despise or love or would like to change in 1.9, please follow the retro link at the bottom and put those in the retro doc with your initials or GitHub handle or whatever identifying information you want so that when we do 1.9, we make all of this better and smarter. So with that, I sincerely appreciate everybody's time and effort on this, and we will be meeting tomorrow at the same time. And thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Jace.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.